Well, hello again, model kit builders. So we got another number 2 in the Gundam Artifact range, the Gundam EX-S from the Sentinel publication. This is model kit came out in 2021. Yeah, you can still get them today, I'm sure. I did. And then there's 5 in the total wave. You already did this one. Took a long time. I gotta do them in order, I guess. So let's just take a look here. And send some credit to whomever painted these and made those, because they look fantastic. This one, someone said they spray primed it and then painted it by hand, so that's impressive. I really like this colorway. It's like a blue and purple, so I'm not sure what colors I'm gonna do. These things do come with instructions. There's not much to them though. They just come in this like resin color, and you have to, clip them off the screws and then glue them together. The way the instructions have it set out though is if you follow the instructions, you're going to basically end up having a model that's all, together. But if you're going to actually paint the things with the airbrush, you really don't want to have that. You want to have the pieces separate and, and paint the colors separately. If you're going to just hand brush it though, I guess it just doesn't matter. Although getting like underneath, the foot area and stuff would be really difficult to do with a paintbrush. So at minimum, I would say you want to just have the main components, right? But like the leg, I think you have to clip off the pivot. Where is that leg? Or the foot? So here's the inside of the leg, the bottom. This is the pin for the foot. And now if I could find the foot. Oh, it's right here, right? It's right below it. See, so other people I've seen, they clip off part of it so they can snap it in after the fact. Yeah, I might do that myself. We'll see. Okay, well, as usual, I'll probably just speed this up, set it to some music, and you can just skip to the end if you want, or if you want to watch the build. Some people seem to like that. I like watching other people build their robots too, so, alright. So we're back and curious about the scale. So Fandom is saying the head height of this thing is 21.73 meters. And let's take the digital calipers to this guy. .84, somewhere in that ballpark. Hmm, 1/389 scale, 1/390 scale. So it's quite a bit different from the Rick Dias. So that makes me pretty much believe that there's no congruity, you know, between any of these artifact figures, because I know the Nightingale physically is around this size based on other YouTube videos, but the Nightingale is a huge robot in the Gundam universe. So just keep that in mind. Okay, well anyways, let's I'll talk about what I ran into building this thing. So first I spent some time filling in the cracks between the two halves of the legs and stuff and the thrusters. But I didn't do all of it, There's still, like you can see, a little crack there. I'm starting to not really care. It takes too long. Then I primed it with Vallejo white, and I was originally thinking I'd just paint most of it white and then brush on the different colors, because look at this image, it's mostly a white chassis. But as I kept on building up the primer, it started to fill in. The panel gaps would start to vanish. So I decided to stop priming it, and then I just put on this, purplish color. And so all of this was this purple, and then everything else is just using paint brushes. Oh, well, actually, I apologize. The thrusters and these things were airbrushed. But the body, the main body, I pretty much paintbrushed most of these colors on. And so after the paintbrushing, standard stuff, I put some decals on, and then, well, the photo etch pieces were also added as well. And I guess that's it. It just took a long time. Some of the photo etch parts, like I originally painted, I primed all the photo etch parts, and then I painted them. But see these little wings here? These little wings are added here, and this actually is a topic of discussion. There's these tiny grooves right here when these two halves are put together. You see, I didn't even bother filling in these grooves. But the photo etch piece is wider, it's longer than the groove there, so these aren't really seated very much. This one I eventually carved out with a knife to make it deeper, but I didn't do it on the other three. It's just that this one kept on falling off and it was driving me nuts. And so by fondling it so many times with tweezers, I ended up just stripping all the paint. This is the paint and glue. This is all stripped off. All right. So I'm starting to, this is some paint here, but this is just metal here. I'm starting to think it might just be easier to leave all the photo etch pieces raw. Although in here, you'll see I did a paint wash, and it does look good because this is the thruster. This is a photo etch piece. There's some jewel beads down in here, and there's the fluorescent kind, so they really catch the light quite a bit, and it's kind of hard to see in my bright photo booth though. And then also this orange paint is also a fluorescent Vallejo, but unfortunately it's really hard to tell because this booth is too bright. Okay, yeah, so the feet went in fine. In this case, the articulation is all maintained. This pivots a little bit, not much though. There's actually like a molded stop, so it doesn't come all the way forward. In hindsight, maybe I should have actually taken those stops out so I could swing this whole thing forward. Not sure why, but so I don't know also why this model kit, this is all hollow in here. There was no other piece of plastic to put in here and blank it off, so I just put in a bunch of black paint to hide it. But I guess maybe because they think the wings here, are covering the top. And then oddly, these wings are using a square-shaped peg. They're not round. I instinctively want to turn this, but you can't because it's a square peg. I don't know why they chose to do that. Maybe because they purposely wanted to cover up this opening. So if you wanted to modify it, I guess you'd probably want to blank that off, and then round this around, make this round, and put a drill bit or something in there, and so you could swing it. But in this case, no, it stays put. The head though is on a round peg, but unfortunately it doesn't spin because it's actually colliding here with these ridges here on the chest. But yeah, it is a round peg, but physically it can't move. Let's see, the arms as well, they're square pegs, so you can't rotate the arms, which is really strange because I feel they could have easily had a round peg and a round hole. They did it here, why not for the arms? But nope. And then you notice this thing doesn't have a weapon at all. It just has the two closed fists. The fists are part of this casting here, so they don't move at all. These don't move at all. I can't, nope, these are also square pegs. Again, I'm not sure why you can't have round ones. It would have been nice to be able to have to move the thruster, but you cannot. So really the only thing that moves on this entire figure are these little side pods. Right? So a lot of posing ability has been removed by Bandai in this case. So let's see, some other I'll just point out all the photo etch parts. There's some in these thrusters here, these on both sides of the leg there. This is actually a photo etch piece as well. That's why you don't see a seam, but you can see the seam here, and the seam there, where it was too easy to blank it off. This is a photo etch piece. Let's see, what else? On the front and back of what are these side gun pods are, this is a photo etch piece here, and there's one on the back as well. You saw the photo etch pieces in these 4 thrusters and also these 4 deflectors. This is a photo etch piece right here, this one that I painted magenta, that right there. And then you have these 4 wings on the 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. The bottom ones are kind of hard to see, but there you go. And then on the side of these gun pods, these are photo etch pieces as well. Was there any others? Oh yeah, these 4 pieces are photo etched. I put some Citadel transparent red over them. It was too easy to drill out these holes. These are actually guns, I guess, but I just got too lazy. I spent a lot of time doing this. over the course of like 3-4 days. I worked on this thing, so it's very time consuming. But hopefully you can appreciate its details. I mean, even if you didn't see my hand, it has a lot of details on it. Because again, well, I put in the time. Okay. Let's get this thing spinning. Alright, so let's see. I got the Gundam Converge. This is from the core number 2. Gundam Converge Core 002. And unfortunately, the weird thing about the Gundam Converge, the head, they're always pointed very far down. I mean, look at this posture. It's really strange. He's looking at like the ground right there. So you can't really see the face. I don't understand the logic behind their deformation there. I think it's Fusion Works that makes these things. So Converge EX-18 is the flying version here, and it's got the side pods there. So that's the most similar to this model kit, and because it's on a stand, you can actually have some sense of seeing its head. And also the way they pose this head, it's not looking as far down as this other one. Right? There's quite a difference. See, the head is looking a few degrees down, but this one is looking ridiculously downwards. Alright. This is supposedly like a 1/400 scale GP02A. This is from the minifigure collection plus series, I believe. And so it's quite a bit smaller, as it should be. So yeah, the Converges, they're deformed, whereas the other two are more realistic looking. Let's get these out of here. And so the very first artifact is this Rick Dias, and you'll notice here they have almost the very similar head height, if not identical. But if you look at the screen behind, this is the fandom page. The Rick Dias has an 18-meter head height, and as we saw, this EX-S has a 21.73 meter. So it actually is logical in my measurement. It's not wrong. I think this is somewhere around like 1/320 or 1/330 scale, I forget, and this is closer to 1/400 scale. Yeah, I guess it's just a bigger robot in the Gundam universe. But, if you don't care about accuracy, considering these are just fictional cartoon creations, maybe I shouldn't even discuss the scaling. And that's why there is no scaling on the Artifact box. They're just trying to make stuff that's in the general, league of each other. And that's it. And I think that's fine, actually. It doesn't really bother me that this thing is undersized or this is oversized, because they look like they could be in the same universe, right? Their heads both look similar in size, so to me, that makes sense. Alright. So, I was just trying to go for something different from that. This is a gloss coated, it's a color shift, Vallejo color shift. There's actually two different color shifts, but they're so similar it's hard to even tell. And then this is pretty much a matte finish. I did matte clear coat it afterwards, and it's pastel-y, so I just want some variation in my collection, because I have the Converge figures already that are supposed to look more realistic with their colorways. So yeah, just a word of warning, if you want to actually do these models with a lot of attention to detail, it's going to take a lot of time to do so. Over 20 hours easily on this one, maybe 30, maybe even more. I forget. I don't even show everything in my fast forwarded build. It just becomes too difficult to actually sit there and make sure the camera's focusing or pointing it in the right area. I very often are wearing magnifying glasses, so it's just really difficult to actually film me trying to make this kind of model. It's so small, so I cut a lot of it out. Alright, well, still, if you like these models, I'm going to build all of them eventually. It just takes a while. You'll also notice this is a very back heavy model, and that's why I'm using poster putty to mount it to this acrylic disc. And now you can also see the foot is hollow, but that doesn't really bother me. So at some point in time after I build all of them, I'm going to make some custom bases, or maybe a diorama, possibly. Alright, thank you for watching. See you in the next model kit build.